Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome once again, as always, to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me today for Letters from TV Licensing, Volume 14, where once again Mr H is inviting you, the YouTube community, to join him as he takes a look at his latest letter, or threatogram, as we in the legally licence-free community like to call them, from TV Licensing. Now, for those of you out there who are new to this series and have never watched these type of videos before, what I do simply in this series is I showcase the letter that I receive over at H Towers each month from TV Licensing, aka the BBC, that is basically trying to coerce and bully me into contacting them when I have no legal obligation whatsoever to do so. Now, for those of you who already follow this series, you know the script. You know what we're going to do in a moment. I'm going to be retiring to the small screen and taking a look at this month's letter. So, without further ado, I'm going to retire to the small screen now, and we're going to jump straight in to this month's letter from TV Licensing. Okay, folks, well, assuming my dodgy editing skills haven't let me down, you should now be able to see a copy of the letter that I received at the end of last month, which I'm about to read out for you now. Now, over in the top left-hand corner, that area of the letter where it's all blank, that's where my address would be, and they usually title me as the legal occupier. The reason TV Licensing do that is because they don't know who lives at my address, so they use that generic term, and they do it with all unlicensed addresses where they don't know who's living at the premises. There's also a number of QR codes which are uniquely identifiable to my address, so I've removed all that for obvious reasons. Over in the top right hand corner we have the TV Licensing logo. Beneath that we have the TV Licensing web address. Now, as normal, I always warn at this juncture of the video not to go on the TV Licensing website unless you really need to do so. The only reason for that is TV Licensing use tracking applications and little cookies which they will put onto your machine, and that'll tell them where you've been on their website. Now, you don't really want that, so unless you really need to go on the website, don't go on it. Also, I believe in the past, and it is a while back now, in fairness to TV Licensing, but a while ago, they did get their website hacked with hackers, and who knows where your details may end up. So, unless you need to go on, keep off it, really. Beneath that, we've got unlicensed property, which is in bold. Then we've got a unique reference number, which again is identifiable to my address, so I've removed that for obvious reasons. Then we have the date that this letter was sent to H Towers, which is June 2020. As I've stated, I'm normally receiving these threatograms now at the end of the month. I used to receive them mid-month, but probably due to the COVID situation, I now get them right at the end of the month. Then underneath that, we've got a big red box, and in that we've got some white capital letters which basically state your attention is required. Now, what TV Licensing do, they use colours as a little bit of a psychological warfare, and they're using red to try and hark back to the days when the gas board and people like that sent out final demands to addresses. So that's why they're using red. It's a colour that sort of demands you do something and you take action. So that's why they've used red in this case. The letter goes on to state, "Dear Sir, / Madam, despite having written to this address previously, our database shows that," and then they repeat my address, "is still not covered by a TV licence. That means it's against the law for anyone to watch or record live TV programmes on any channel or to download or watch BBC programmes on iPlayer at this address. This applies to any device you may use." Then we have a little red box that states, "Act now to avoid further investigation." They've put that in bold. You need to do one of the following. Buy a licence. You can either pay £157.50 now or spread the cost with a direct debit. Go to, and then they send you to their website. Then there's option 2. Move your TV licence. To move your licence from an old address, visit, and then they send you to another division of the website, or call our 24/7 automated phone service on, and there's a telephone number. No doubt if you was to ring that telephone number, it will be at your cost. It doesn't look like it's a free phone number. Then, outside the box, they've got a third option, and they try to play down this option because obviously they want you to buy a licence, don't they? They don't want you doing what I and many other people quite legally and rightfully do, which is not have a TV licence. If a TV licence isn't needed at this address or the property is currently unoccupied, please let us know that, and there's yet another subdivision of the website. Then it gets to the little bit of sketchiness on this particular template of letter. It states in bold, "Don't risk prosecution and a fine. As long as this property remains unlicensed, our investigation will continue. If you fail to get in touch, you risk prosecution and a fine of up to £1,000 plus any legal costs and or compensation you may be ordered to pay. There is a 99% conviction rate for licence fee evasion cases determined by the courts in England and Wales." Now, before I finish off the letter, I would just like to state that this is where this letter is really bordering on the lines of misleading people, because the impression that gives to the casual reader is if you don't contact TV licensing to tell them that you legally don't need a TV licence, then you're risking a fine of up to £1,000. That is utter poppycock. The fact that you choose not to contact TV licensing is your legal right. There is nothing in law that states you must contact TV licensing to tell them that you do not require a TV licence. Anyway, we'll end the letter now. For more information and other ways to contact us, please turn over. And if you've recently bought or moved a licence, thank you. Our records will be updated. Yours faithfully, R. Sherrington, Collections Manager. And then in small print it basically states, in Scotland, Scottish criminal law applies. A report will be sent to the Procurator Fiscal, who will decide on prosecution. Then, as always, for some reason it always states, please do not write below this line. And as I always state, what would happen if you did? They'd never know, would they? Quickly turning over, it's just the usual gubbins on the back, various ways that you can get in touch with them to either buy a licence or tell them that you don't need one. So I'm not going to go through that because, as I've already stated, you're under no legal obligation whatsoever to contact them and tell them that you don't need or you do not require a TV licence. Right then, I'm going to go back on the big screen now and we'll dissect this particular letter and we'll wrap this particular video up. And there we go, I'm back on the big screen once again. So folks, what do I make of this particular version of the Threatogram, the latest one that's being sent out to legally licence-free addresses across the UK, such as my own? Well, to be honest, it's rather disappointing to see that TV licensing, aka the BBC, because after all, TV licensing is a division of the BBC. They are one and two of the same. It's rather disappointing to see that they are falling back on their old ways of trying to bamboozle, mislead, and basically lie to the public to try and get them to contact them by using statements such as, if you fail to get in touch, you risk prosecution and a fine of up to £1,000. As I've already stated previously in this video, that is a load of poppycock. You know, there is no legal obligation whatsoever to contact them. They know that, and now you know that if you didn't know already. So, yeah, it's a shame, really, that they're returning back to that. You know, I thought they'd turned over a new leaf with the first of the Threatograms that they sent out during the COVID-19 situation, because it was rather tame, wasn't it? But it seems, indeed, they want to return back to their way of bullying and pressurising and coercing, which won't do them any favours, will it, in the long run? Anyway, folks, that was Letters from TV Licensing Volume 14, and the latest episode in this little saga. I'm now going to return back home to H Towers and dispose of that Threatogram safely and responsibly by putting it through the shredder and then forgetting about it. And if you've received that particular Threatogram last month, I suggest you do the same as well. Anyway, folks, I'm going to get off now. I eagerly look forward to Letters from TV Licensing Volume 15, which I'm sure many of you who follow this series of videos will be doing also. But until then, I'll bid you a fond farewell, and as always, bye-bye for now.